Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. We are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. It's now 6:02 p.m., August 15th, 2024. We have a fun show for you tonight. It's called Gary Grinberg, the Fat Finger of Satan. And trust me, this is a good title. I know it sounds the Fat Finger of Satan. What? That sounds perverse. That sounds dirty. That sounds nasty. It is. It is actually nasty. Seriously. We're talking about some really nasty crap tonight. This guy's nasty. We're going to continue on our, well, apparently this is the third week I'm talking about the Masons. And tonight, of course, I'm going to focus a little heavily on this one particular target called Gary Grinberg, who everybody kept saying, you better watch out, you better watch out. Don't be talking no smack about GG33. He's going to come and get you. You're going to regret it. He's going to put a hex on you anyway. So we've been playing with this guy that we affectionately call Gay Gary now. I'm trying to work the gay out of the name because I figure there's no reason to. He's so pathetic. Anyway, I did a short video earlier in the week basically discussing why I would even be wasting my time, not just with these particular, homosexual guys, and that's not the issue, but they happen to be, but Masons, is because they are actually kind of important. And to understand modern Satanism, modern recruitment practices, what they do to get people into the Masons, you have to understand the pool, the talent pool, what they're working with today. And obviously the United States is kind of, it's taking a shit. We're not exactly turning out engineers and stuff. What are we turning out? We're turning out influencers, TikTok personalities, OnlyFans models, this kind of thing. People who want to be rich selling crypto or, parlaying whatever bullshit that they're trying to parlay because of their manufactured coolness, whatever it is, attraction that they are using on social media. And obviously, when you're talking about this kind of lifestyle and this sort of thing, you're talking about greed, you're talking about ego, and these are the cornerstones of the Masons, and these are the cornerstones, certainly, of the satanic belief system. Obviously, we're talking about service to self. So, the world right now is in the grip of a selfish service to self entity, and it's been that way for a long time. And we can see it manifested or illustrated well in modern young people who are essentially selling their bodies and selling their faces and selling whatever it is, fascination with certain music, whatever silly thing, to try to become popular, to try to get clout, as they say. Now Gary, of course, I didn't know anything about him. We're going to talk about him, but again, as I got deeper into screwing with these Masons, and of course I work outward, I start with the initial target that causes the problem, and then I work outward from there. This Gary guy turned out to be a significant player in the network that I was dealing with. And it is very much a network. And this is significant because modern recruiting and networking involved in sucking young Christian men and women into Satanism requires and benefits from modern technology and the social media and the systems that are in place today, not the least of which is blockchain and crypto. So Gary apparently has set out to become a force upon himself. And I want to dissect him. I mean, there's going to be some fun stuff. Trust me, it's not just going to be the lurid crap, but I'll just cut to the chase. The guy's going to go to jail, but apparently that's not the first time he's been to jail. But let's start with, let me try to find a nice little a biography about Gary. Okay. Now there's plenty of stuff out there on the internet about Gary, including stuff that they really don't like. Most of it his modern, his most recent work with sports betting and thing like this stuff. This is really what he's all about. But if we try to go back into his childhood, it's probably a little more interesting. And there's a few people that have gotten close to him. For instance, people that were involved in OnlyFans, people that are involved in sports betting, using numerology to pick teams, to pick bets, this kind of thing. This was his world. And so if you want to get dirt on him and you want to get insight into him, a lot of this information is going to come from these people. But trust me, when I decided to randomly destroy this guy, I had no professional numerological, satanical, whatever experience with the dude whatsoever, except that everyone told me that I should be worried about his power and his threatening presence. So obviously, that sounds like, that sounds real sexy to me. So here we are. But let's see, one of the stories that I got from him, let's see. Okay, here's a guy. He calls himself Fastest Payout. He's another sports bet person, numerology guy, comes up with numbers. And he shared some of the stuff that he learned from a close relative of Gary. We haven't even got to when he was born yet. Well, I'll just do that real quick. He was born January 7th, 1978. And that's important because we're going to talk about this numerology. But it turns out that Gary, up until the time he was 21, slept with a Care Bear named Mr. Winkers. And he didn't lose his virginity until he was in his 20s. Now if you see the photo on my video here, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see. When Gary was in high school, he was known by the nickname Snatch due to regularly breaking into lockers of his fellow students and stealing from their clothes during PE class. He stole from so many people that no one would even invite him to their houses after a while. His relative told this guy that their family had developed the Gary rule. And if there was a family function or a dinner, all the women would keep their purses all in one room with someone sitting with their back to it due to Gary regularly stealing from family members. And I'll tell you, there's a little bit he throws in here about his wife, and I'm going to just share with you right now. And I really wanted to leave his wife out of it, but I realized, oh my God, she's so symptomatic of the whole thing. But let's see. Now bear in mind that Gary said that his wife was a virgin. Now that's very noble of any man to claim that their wife was a virgin. But apparently this woman wasn't just a virgin. She worked at a massage parlor that Gary frequented and was being deported, and Gary had to marry her. Let's see, what does it say here? It says, Gary paid for her to go on dates with him after they met at an Asian massage parlor. Now, which is weird because apparently this woman's Russian. It was only after much begging and her visa close to expiration, which would finally make her return back to get her return back. She agreed to marry him so she could stay in the USA. Now, I guess I'll get straight into it. I read, Gary himself has said, in saying how wonderful his wife is, saying that he pays her something like $3,000 a month to give him a prostate massage every morning. If you don't know what that is, you can just look that up. But what else? Let's get into some more interesting details about Gary. Let's see here. The criminal record. Let me see if I want to go into the criminal record. It's interesting to try to get the dates right because, again, most of the stuff that he has starts in, like, say, 2000. But let's see. According to his trivia, which I guess is put out by, who knows, famous birthdays because he's famous. It says here that he's a TikTok star, content creator, astrological, best known by the name GG33, and he posts content about astrology and numerology, blah, blah, blah. 750,000 followers. Before his fame, maybe he posted a family-related astrology stuff. Okay, now this is really, really... Oh, it says here, in December of 2020, he visited the White House. And he is the creator and founder of the G33 Academy, where he teaches about astrology and numerology. Now, the G33 Academy is actually Mason School. We just flat out, it's Mason School. So that's what they say about this guy. Now, January 2015. Okay, what happened before that? Well, let's see here. He was involved in quite a few frauds and some other fun stuff. He did some time, but I want to get this stuff in chronological order as I can. Let's see. Well, here's one: harassment prevention order. Somebody filed against him. No, but that's no good. Let me see. We've got something better. Okay, here's one. Here's one he actually did time. Now, when was this? 1998. Yep. Doesn't look good. But what did he do? Let's see. Receiving stolen property. What did he do? Let's see. Type, date, set, amount, bail, $10,000. Anyway, he was arrested for stealing stolen property. When the cops came into his house, he told them he needed shoes, and he went into his bedroom to go get shoes, and the cop followed him, and he was acting all sketchy, Gary. And the cop said, well, listen here, I'm going to have to put cuffs on you because I'm afraid you're going to reach for a gun while you're digging around under your bed and stuff. And that's when he resisted. He got into a scuffle with the cops, and one of the cops got injured. So he had to add that to his receiving stolen property. But you would think that that's it, but just kind of petty thing. But it's a lot worse than that. He claims that he has met with elite Jewish gangsters, and he considers himself a, how do we call it? Synonym. Let me get this right here. In 2016, he admitted that he was Synonym, which is worldwide volunteers that work for Mossad. They're basically people that live in different countries that are Jewish and possibly usually dual nationality that help support operations in these countries. So this is the fingers. Let's see what he discussed with this guy personally. Again, this is fastest payout. This particular post where he's talking about this stuff has 50,000 views. But he says that Gary told him that his goal was to turn as many Christian males across racial lines against God. He called it fleecing the goyim and would regularly laugh about it. Now, if you know anything about Gary, you'll know he talks a lot of shit about Christians, but trust me, everything out of his mouth is bullshit. He would regularly admit that he liked to be surrounded by minorities in his group, and he felt that they lacked the critical brain power for in-depth introspection to understand what he was really doing and only took words and actions at face value. He said that he considered them the easiest of victims. He said on numerous occasions, as long as he said one thing but did another, none of them would be able to catch on to his real goals. Of course, this is why this guy stayed away from him and didn't want to be involved, supposedly. But again, this guy's a numbers guy. I'm not saying that numbers are satanic. I'm just saying they're a tool, and it's all about what you use them for. But anyway, Gary, he's got a lot of times where he's actually threatened people. I mean, I saw it the other day. I'm in a group right now with a bunch of people who don't like Gary. And one of them is a guy named Matt. He was actually like a manager for a bunch of people who are doing OnlyFans. But he actually put out a hit on Matt. He did what they call a contract for hire killing. He posted, anybody who takes out Matt, $20K. And of course, we all know who this Matt guy is, but he immediately deleted it afterwards. Now we copied that, and that's getting sent to the FBI. And of course, the FBI they need to know stuff. But he was involved in another operation which was a little more nutty, and this was a actual insurance fraud. And the case where he was indicted in, basically he was a defendant in this case. The plaintiffs got about $750,000, but it was Allstate Insurance versus Vushashvili. Okay, bottom line, these guys were all Russian mafia. Now, it wasn't just Gary, but let's skip down the legal information. Let's see if we can get down to the plaintiffs here. Racketeering. Okay, basically racketeering, influence, corrupt organizations, claims, blah, blah, blah. I want to get to the fun part where they use Gary's name here. Ordered to plaintiffs. Come on, RICO violations. Parallel PCs. They call it parallels PCs. It was illegal billing that they used. Plaintiffs. Of course, I don't have his name right here. But anyway, bottom line is, if you look at these names of these guys, they're all Russian names. One of them looks like his brother. Okay, here we go. Over the past several years, plaintiffs have discontinued the action against some of the defendants. Plaintiffs now seek summary judgment on their complaint against the remaining 27 defendants. 10 of them, Bashuvili, Lubavitch, Rabinovich, Brodsky, Wynyard, Reyes, blah, blah, so-and-so, Kronberg, Parallel Management Group, yada, yada. But 17 defendants did not submit any opposition to the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment. And leading the list is none other than Gary Grinberg, followed by Eduard Rosenthal, Oleg Mikrochinik, Vladislav Fomenko, Yefim Gertrovsky, Yuri Grinberg, Isov Dubrovsky, Leonid Slutsky, and then their various BS companies: Fast-Paced Management, Dial Management, Gleb Management, Demo Management, Circle Management Group, Top Management Group, Better Health Medical, PLC, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, now what did they do? Let's see here. Plaintiffs have submitted a plethora of evidence to support their motion for summary judgment with regarding to the claims of unjust enrichment, fraud. For a declaratory judgment, plaintiffs have submitted reams and reams of American Express statements, federal tax returns, payroll records, bank records, general ledgers, EIN applications, personal guarantees, profit loss statements, depositions, corporate books, services, contracts, invoices, canceled checks, final statements, blah, 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 lease and suitcase, W-2 forms. Now, here's the thing. In response to this collection of evidence supporting the motion for summary judgment, the defendants submit the thinnest general denial. With the exception of some 3 or 4 paragraphs, defendants' only response to plaintiffs' detailed, voluminous Rule 19A statement material facts to the state of more than 300 times that defendants submit that this is not, quote, a separate, short, and concise statement of material facts. So in other words, that was their answer, as required by Rule 19. Said defendants state that these facts do not implicate defendants. That's all they could say. These facts do not implicate defendants. With overwhelming evidence that what these guys had done is set up a complex scam system to take money from insurance companies by billing and overbilling for procedures that shouldn't have taken place or never took place. And this was a very complex system, and yes, it was mafia. So yes, he is Mossad. He is the Jewish mafia. He's very crude Jewish mafia, but that's what this guy is. So much for that case. I don't think he did time for this, unfortunately, but he definitely did do time for the receiving stolen property and the assaulting the officer. He did like 3 years, I think, which I think is one of the reasons why he has the affinity for butt sex that comes with Masons. You know, he has this little lieutenant that goes by the name Red Pill Aries. Now, I don't, you know, I think his real name is Jake because we found his we found his OnlyFans page, and it's called Jake Gets Freaky. I mean, it's listed. He likes scat. Scat is one of the things that he has listed. But scat is basically shit. He plays with his shit on camera. Okay, and basically, here's the thing. Just like Gary with his prison and his very, very low, uncouth, uneducated background, he likes to surround himself with these really weak men who who they look up to him. Now Red Pill Aries apparently also did time. He did 3 years in jail, Miami for who knows what, and he came out of that thing with a definitely stretched out rear end, and he stands with his legs very close together now. You can tell he's trying to keep it all up in there. But that guy, he was chosen as the head of this Beacon Group, which is one of these things that Gary put together. And again, this is part of this Ponzi, multi-level marketing Ponzi scam thing, but it's meant to be like a secret club for people who want to become influencers and this sort of thing. But the thing is that you're going to see this a lot when you look at these people who emulate this system that Gary puts together. We'll talk about that when we look at his non-disclosure agreement. Is that they pass themselves off as like a men's club. They're there to promote masculinity. I actually saw brochures that these guys were putting out on the street. One of them was showing, had photographed, he had just posted these things, and they were talking about, they're basically bad-mouthing homosexuals and saying that you need to have a man and a woman to make a family, and that was the right thing and all this. And this is amazing, considering that the guy running this Beacon Group is a homosexual model for this OnlyFans page, and gets paid by people to play with his shit on camera. That's amazing, because it's almost, and then you see Gary and this guy passing joints around. You wonder just how well he cleans his fingers. But you look at this guy, pictures of Gary and Aries, and I looked at these guys without even knowing anything about the two. And of course, I'm pretty psychic. I could pick up the gay vibes right away. Now, again, I've said this publicly, but I think Aries is a victim. I mean, obviously he's sucked into the Satanism hardcore, but yeah, he's a victim. He probably got really broken by other men in jail, and he's still recovering. He probably will never recover because of that. And people like Gary take advantage of that. But it's amazing. What amazes me is the level of projection that comes from these people. It's so bad. And the level of bullshit. I mean, now, one of the things that, of course, Gary is all about, he thinks that he's going to be a big fan of Trump. He thinks that somehow him and Trump have a lot going on. Now, granted, Trump is Chabad Jew, and granted that Trump is very much in this gematria bullshit, numerology and crap, just like this guy. So certainly, I could see a potential connection. But if that's the case, why was he so heavily involved? So much so that he was invited to the White House at the end of the Obama administration. You really got to wonder about that. So, again, it's just like Gary said. He'll say one thing and do something else. It's kind of like saying his wife is a virgin when she's a prostitute with multiple baby daddies. I mean, I heard it was like 3 or 4. But first he said it was 4, and then he said it was 3 or 4, but then he said they had 5 kids, and it could be maybe just 4 kids. I don't know. Whatever, Gary. All right, let's see what else I want to share with you about Gary here. Well, obviously he is certainly working for Israel, Mossad. He's working in the same way that Epstein worked. He's working as a complete Satanist, sowing destructive Satanist information into society using the age-old ego and greed lure. And this is what the Masons are. And I think that by talking about these guys and by talking about these Masons and exposing them and taking them down and ruining their income streams and ruining their egos by pointing out their contradictions and their focus on the anus and this kind of thing, I think that it'll hurt them enough to where we will also do damage to the larger guys, the Getty. I think that if we can turn the public against these Masons, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to notice that Trump's Mason, the Getty's Mason, all the presidents have been Mason, all the police are Mason, little things like this. And pretty soon you realize maybe the hard way, back door, if you will, people will see the big picture. They'll realize it's all the same thing. But it's almost like one of the most crazy things is, like, for instance, the Masons or Albert Pike, who was a 33rd degree Grand Master, whatever. He started the Ku Klux Klan. And the Ku Klux Klan, of course, portrays itself as this racist thing, hates colored people, but also hates Jews. Now, which is amazing since this guy, Albert Pike, was a Jew. But it's like the same thing with the Levi Sabbatai and Jacob Frank and Rothschild and Weishaupt when they started the Illuminati, and then they took over the Masons. They were Jewish. It was Jewish mysticism. So if something started out somewhat Christian, it's been completely infiltrated. Now, I know I'm kind of going off track here because I kind of detest talking about these guys. They're really foul, disgusting to me. But one of the things that Gary did yesterday, I think he was really pissed off for two things. One, I dug up his non-disclosure contract, which is the thing that all of his little minions have to sign before they can get involved in his GG33 empire. And apparently this was something that he considered extremely secret because it was his key to keeping control over all these people economically and under the threat of destruction, essentially. So he's very, very, very upset with that. And then, of course, there's a picture of him sitting on the toilet that we posted. Now, bear in mind, he made that photo. He made that photo and other goofy photos of himself basically to make a buck. This is how low this guy is to make a buck. I mean, this is a guy that will steal money from his mother's purse, his aunt's purse, his grandma's purse, his sister's purse. He probably stole weed out of his sister's purse, too. He stole from all of his friends in school. He doesn't know any better. The guy is disgusting. Another thing about when you look in his history, you'll see that there's no mention whatsoever of his schooling. Sure, it says he was born in Ohio in 78 and all that, but it doesn't say anything about where he went to school. We don't know if he's a graduate of elementary school, if he graduated from high school, if he went to reform school, what happened? Does he have a GED? Does he have a high school diploma? Apparently, none of this stuff is true. We don't know. Maybe he went to jail as a juvenile also. We don't know. But if you listen to the guy talk, one of my first impressions when I actually heard one of his recordings and he was going off on somebody, and I trust me, today I actually struggled with this because it's like he likes to use the N-word, and I'm thinking, oh gee, should I just say what he says and not? No, I can't. Seriously. You guys hear me cuss and you hear me talk shit and you hear me say all sorts of heinous things to people, but that is one thing I'm never going to do. And this stuff flows out of his mouth like the most disgusting, uncouth pile of crap that could possibly exist. And I'm sorry, and I'll tell you, that's the other thing about these people. When they communicate, they use this real illiterate gangster, I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't want to call it hip hop, but it's more like, say, I don't know. What's the word for can't read? Illiterate. Yeah. It's kind of an illiterate slang that they use. Seriously, it's funny, especially when Red Pill Aries tries to defend himself like, yo, boy, yeah, man, hating, bullshit. Serious, like, dude, really? You're supposed to be a leader of young men. You're supposed to be telling people how to become, elevated in society, to make the best that they can be. We're just trying to make people better. Trust me. Bottom line, if you guys don't know what multi-level marketing is, you really need to study up on that stuff. If you don't know what a pyramid Ponzi scam is, you really should look into that before you get involved in these things. So, just for fun, I suppose, let's look at his Gary Grinberg confidentiality, secrecy, and non-disclosure agreement. Okay, this NDA agreement regarding confidential information and mention assignment, and non-solicitation. So as a member of Gary Grinberg's proprietary and bespoke services named here, hashtag GG33 numerology, Chinese astrology, Vedic astrology, Western astrology, shadow astrology, stock market / GAN classes, including the Wealthy Man 28 and at the Manifestor. And here's a good one, weaponized psychology system. Okay, that sounds like shit talking to me. Sports betting picks, sports code, D33P, 7 insights, D33P destinations, D33P wealth, D33 per wealth. I'm going to keep doing this. Wealth, D33 per 7 insights, and D33P forever contest. Beyond D33P, D33P designs, D33P designs. Let's see, same thing it looks like. D33P dreams, Craftline career reports, and Craftline private account, all Craftline content, mentorships, private educational classes, webinars, seminars, influencer sessions, including those having entertainment aspects. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and which may be available from Gary's subsidiaries. That's like Beacon and all that. Students, affiliates, successors, and or assigns. That means anybody in his system or one of his students, affiliates, successors, assigns, etc., collectively known as the company. So anybody in there's little GG3 whatever bullshit, and again, there's very many aspects of this thing are in this company. Okay? This is an organization. This is where RICO comes in. I'm telling you, people, we got a RICO thing going on here. All right. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's see. Let's look at some of the definitions that he has in this agreement. Confidential information means confidential, secret, or proprietary information and materials that are owned by the company, that are received from a third party by the company under an obligation to keep such information or materials confidential, or that relate to the company's historical, all current or planned businesses or business activities, regardless in what form or medium such information and materials may exist. Such information and materials include, but are not limited to, all information not generally known to the public that relate to any of the following: inventions, methods, processes, formulas, designs, developments, technology, technical data, research and development, products, policies, and practices of the company, investments and investment strategies of the company, markets, marketing plans, and proposals of the company. Let's see. Client and member lists and all the information relating to individual clients and persons whom the company performs services or with whom the member has contact during the course of the member's consumption of services related to the company's current or planned business activities. It goes on. Information that the company designates as confidential or proprietary, and all information that the member of the company would reasonably expect to be confidential or proprietary information of the company or third party from the company receiving information, blah, 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 blah. Inventions means concepts, improvements, secrets, and proof of concepts. Wow. Anyway, it goes on. And of course, you sign your life away with this thing, because basically when you get down to the bottom, it says if you break any of this, void any of this, he's going to charge you. What at the very bottom? Compensation in case of breach. The member promises to pay the company $300,000 US and all other income and liquid loss of income and damages, fees, interest, and expenses incurred by the company as a result of the liquid damages caused by the action of the members, and additional penalties as administered by the court of law. In this case, Miami. By the way, guys, I got this guy's address. And why is that important? Not because I need to dox him, but if you want to call the FBI on this guy for, say, threatening the life of yourself or somebody else, or for something of that nature, like offering $20,000 to take out Matt Mann. I mean, basically, he put out a blanket contract on all his detractors, and he said that he was setting aside, what do you say, $800,000 or $800,000 in Bitcoin. And he was going to use this as a war chest to basically take out his detractors in 1990, or was it 2025? Because that's going to be his year, snake year, some bullshit like that. They're really into this satanic shit. They love Capricorn because, of course, it's a ram, Baphomet and all that crap. Let's talk about Gary's birthday real quick and numerology in general. And I, of course, numerology. I learned numerology a long damn time ago, and again, I don't like to play with it like these guys do, turning letters into numbers and this kind of thing. But I use it simply just to look at somebody's birthday, because that can pretty much tell you everything about that person. It's really scary accurate. But Gary, if you add up his birthday numbers, 171,978, that equals 33, two-digit number. Now, Gary takes that 33 number and says, oh, my God, I'm a 33. I'm a master number. No, Gary, where I come from, and trust me, this is Jewish. It's still the same Jewish stuff that you practice, but where I come from, yeah, some people like to think that 33 is a master number. The reality is that you add those two numbers together and it becomes a 6. So no, Gary, you're 6. And those threes basically mean you're kind of, a party, or worthless, you're a slut. Basically, that's what that means. It's unfortunate. And don't feel bad, because I have 3 in me too. I'm a 3, 8, 11. Okay. But that 11, that's the real master number. Gary likes to say as a 33 that he's this great teacher. No, idiot. It's the 11 that's the great teacher, and it's the great teacher that is of Christ. Okay, that's what makes it a master number, is Jesus. You're going to leave that shit out. You could be a 1, and that's where it starts. But it's not until you get to that 11 that you get into that really powerful stuff. So asshole, you're fucking with 11, dude. Anyway. I do enjoy stuff like that. We didn't go too far else. What do I want to tell you about this guy? Well, let's see. The Mossad, we talked about the Sionim. So definitely, he's admitted it. He's as dirty as it gets. He's actually knows what he's doing. He's out there to corrupt young Christian males and turn them against God. And we mentioned it, like they do these events. I wanted to tell you about these events because very often you're going to see, obviously if you're not watching this stuff, but when they try to create these influencers and they try to tell these people, by joining our club, you're going to become popular. People are going to see you. You're going to look like a baller. You're going to look like whatever. You're going to have clout. You're going to get followers. These followers, of course, are going to fall into this trap, but the bottom line is they want to look successful. They want to have followers. They want to have influence. They want their followers to see them looking like they're rolling in the money. They've got all kinds of hot girls all around them all the time, and they're having crazy parties in luxurious locations, and they're sporting all kinds of luxurious bling, like diamond stud Rolexes. Well, here's what they do. Here's what Gary does. Here's what his little beacon club does over there in Miami. They'll rent a boat, and basically it's a party boat. Whatever they pay for the silly party boat. It's just a damn party boat. It holds like 800 people on it, but it's just some cheesy party boat that they park, and they maybe sailing around they motor around the bay, wherever it is, located over there in Miami. And they'll sell these tickets to these people, these members, to go on this party boat, and then they'll film it. They'll live stream the party. And of course, here's the thing. They'll actually hire 100, 200 women, prostitutes, types, women that will do whatever, OnlyFans models. And they hire them to be on this damn boat. And they tell them, well, you're going to be on camera. You're going to get to be exposed, blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And then they'll do something like they'll have a giveaway. At the end of the night, some lucky member is going to win a diamond-encrusted Rolex. This is a common thing that they do. But apparently, when they film these things and whatever it is, live stream it. Quite a few people watch this stuff. Now, bear in mind, these people on the boat dancing around and trying to look like they're, millionaires and all that sort of thing. They're low life. They're low self-esteem, low life. Half they're degenerates, and they're doing everything they can to try to look like they're something that they're not, pretending to be wealthy, that kind of thing. And it's that illusion that they're selling, because they want you to buy into that. They want you to grasp into their greed. They want you to become a member so that you could learn the secret esoteric knowledge that will help you divine the future and get your chunk of the wealth, alter the matrix, whatever bullshit. They call it manifesting. I mean, personally, like I said, if you're going to be manifesting gold, you're kind of a retard when you could use that same power to manifest, I don't know, a complete change in reality, like getting rid of these Satanists. Anyway, so that's what they do. And that's why it's important for us to try to do everything we can to shut this down, because, yeah, it is corrupting. We need to make it not popular. We need to expose these guys that pretend to be the epitome of masculinity as the homosexuals that they are. There's so many of them. I keep running into these guys. Tate brothers are a perfect example of this crap. I mean, all these losers came out of nowhere. They made a little bit of money on crypto or whatever the hell they did. They're trying to be filmed with loose women and fast cars. And you're supposed to emulate this or want to emulate this and listen to everything they say. And there's just so many of them. Twitter's full of it. They don't even have to have that many followers. I saw one, well, I'm not going to name names, but yeah, there really are so many of them. And very often you'll see these guys trying to share some sort of a fitness thing. Like there's this one guy, Fit and Fresh. You could look him up. He's gay as all hell. There's all kinds of pictures of this Fit and Fresh guy in bed with these other fresh and fit guys. He's a black dude. They're white. They're I love this man. Oh, blah, blah, blah kind of crap. It's really bad. I've seen these guys in leather at leather parties, okay? And they're trying to promote family and masculinity. Now, here's the other thing about Gary. You look at his little page, and of course, most of them have been shut down over there on Twitter. It's the only one I see. It's the GG33 Matrix or Matrix Prime or whatever the fuck bullshit. He posts all this anti-pedophile crap. Like, for instance, a picture of Where's Waldo with a rifle shooting somebody that's promoting pedophilia, or a clip of ammo, and the bullets say cure for pedophilia, this kind of thing. These guys are actually Satanists, complete Satanists, and they're acting like they're, anti-pedophilia. It's projection, incredible projection. Okay, here's what this guy did yesterday. He got so pissed off because of, I believe, the contract and the shot of him on the toilet, which was wonderful, guys, that he created. He said, okay, that's it. I'm going to call in some favors. Okay, bear in mind, he's got to pay for this stuff. You guys do it for me for free. But he got somebody to basically take one of my videos, one of the older ones, I could tell because I had a blanket hanging behind me, not the green screen I've been using for the last few years. But he got one of these old videos. And I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it. He basically used AI, got somebody to use AI to modify it to make me say something promoting pedophilia, I assume. Something like I was involved in some sort of making a film involving children, I guess. So that's his thing. His revenge against me for this little campaign was to try to put out a whatever, that's saying that I was a pedophile, and to his little followers. Now, bear in mind, of course, this guy's really got to be hurt to do this, and it doesn't surprise me. But to him, it's a big deal. But it's take down this pedophile. I'm exposing this pedophile. It's crazy. I mean, serious, for somebody that's been for so publicly fighting these pedophiles for so long, for this guy to say this is just kind of, well, again, it's the height of the projection. But now, I kind of wonder what kind of retardation would cause somebody to put out a really obviously fake AI bullshit film like that and try to, screw with me. I mean, because certainly you would think that anybody that would look at that, I mean, obviously the people that follow Gary are pretty retarded. I don't think they maybe know the difference between real and AI, but you would think that if the authorities were actually going to do something that they might, they'd want to make sure it wasn't AI before they tried to haul my ass in for whatever it is that he's trying to get me harassed for. And then he would make these statements like he said, it will take 3 to 4 weeks before he's arrested. I'm like, what is that? Is that one of your numerological projections, assholes? Like 3 to 4 weeks? Is it what? What is it? Homeland Security? Does it take them 3 to 4 weeks to I mean, come on, assholes. Like, it's fucking AI. Anyway. But, of course, Twitter won't do anything about it. They see no violation. But that's okay, because we certainly are violating him pretty heavily on a daily basis. And I know you guys might get tired, because this is sort of like when we were dealing with Emma and Gray. And, of course, they're much smaller fry than this. But this guy, even though he's just a disgusting, swearing, uncouth, whoremongering, whatever, uneducated person, he does have some so-called clout that they like to throw around, and he is definitely a threat when it comes to causing people to be strayed by his, Satanism, this Masonic shit. He doesn't really mention that he is a Mason, but obviously he is. He claims that he's not affiliated with them, but he is certainly a 33rd level Mason. And again, it was the Masons that referred me to him. And just for a reminder, this all started during a Spaces event by Reptile Hybrid, who we've pretty much determined is a enabler for these people. But this guy that calls himself Dr. Marvel was there. And he was basically there to promote this Club 33 or this GG33 bullshit and invade these spaces to do so on my watch. Now, again, these people don't understand this whole Spaces was called together for the purpose of me spreading my propaganda, my Getty information, so I wasn't about to tolerate anybody spreading any satanic Mason crap. Well, I felt they ganged up on me. They claim I ganged up on them, that I attacked them, and they say it's because I yelled at them, I lost the argument, I cursed them. I mean, seriously, I don't have any problem with being extremely impolite and abusive to these people because, talking to Satanists is not, it's not productive. Okay, tolerating a Satanist in polite society, they don't belong, they prey on polite society. They prey on the notion that you think they're normal humans, which they aren't. They're disgusting and foul as you could possibly imagine. So, not the time to be on that side. Seriously. One of the funniest things, though, I'll tell you, this is a big segue coming up here, is this guy Metasurfer that we've been dealing with. He's like their hacker guy. He's pretty pathetic, but he was down to one account. I think it had 40 people on it. Pretty sad. But the other day in one of these things on Twitter, I think it was, he posted my PayPal information. He said, here's his PayPal in case anybody needs it, or in case it hasn't been posted yet. And I thought, oh, you think I'm doing this for PayPal, which is Stephen Kelly 714 at yahoo.com. No, I'm not doing it for PayPal, but if I was, I'd be... I'd be a brokey, as they call these people. A brokey. Seriously. A brokey. These labels that these guys come up with. I'm a brokey, people. Send me a PayPal donation because I'm a brokey. And you got to say friend or family or I'll send it back. Somebody sent $100, I think it was. Or they say somebody sent $100 that got returned. I don't see this stuff. I'm starting to get spammed with all kinds of crap like phony PayPal stuff and people trying to screw with my bandwidth and everything else. It's kind of sad. I've got all sorts of protections on my computers, my multiple computers. But anyway, what can I say? But yeah, that was a quick call to people supporting the show with a donation. I also want to remind you guys, before I go too far and you guys start leaving me, if you haven't joined the Twitter page, it's Stephen Kelly 24 or Stephen D. Kelly for President. Of course, after November, I'll change the name of the page. And it's true. By actually having a committee to elect me president in 2024, I actually do have certain rights. So when these people fuck with me, they need to take that into consideration. I know they don't. But, hey, it is what it is. And, of course, Gary... There's a big old story about this Gary idiot saying he wanted to be president. They put out a big story. Who was it? Let me see. Medium magazine or something like this. Let me see. This is in 2023. 47th president of the United States will be a numerologist, Gary Grinberg. He actually thought that seriously, this guy takes himself serious, said he wanted to be president. This is one of the reasons why he's so pissed off. The guy is a fucking felon. And I don't care what you say about Trump. Gary Grinberg, felon, multiple, fraud and all that, could never be president. It's fucking ridiculous. So anyway, you guys really got to let this guy go. Anyway, we do have a few people listening. A lot of people have started bailing right now because I'm asking for money and telling you to tune into Twitter. Also, the Telegram, of course. The Telegram, the main page, if you're a lurker and you're trying to spy, you're probably not going to get too much out of it, but it's a great place for files and content if you want to learn more about the mission. And that, of course, is Telegram at Occupy/Stephen D. Kelly. Join that group. And if you want my email, which is funny because all these trolls and losers haven't been using my email yet. I wonder what that's all about. It's LAW17GUN. And that's how you ask for a book or whatever. You want to harass me or have me on a, interview. I did an interview today with a guy in, Ireland. And the title, he used a quote of mine that I had during the show for the title of his show. And he says, 250 million Draco to be genocided per Stephen D. Kelly. I'm like, wow. Almost sounds like a hit piece. But hey, I look forward to listening to that interview. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this show tonight. And again, if you want to contribute, please do. Not too many people do. So if you do, you're very special. And we appreciate everything that comes in. Join all these pages. If you want to help out with the Getty and really, really do something, you really got to lose your fear, especially for fear of these, retarded mafia, satanic Mason retards. I mean, this guys like this Gary here. Seriously, he's putting hexes on me. Can you imagine putting a hex on me? I mean, if that's not like asking for trouble, that is completely asking for trouble. Putting a hex on me. My God, if he hasn't met Rambo yet, I'm sure it'll be fun when it happens. Anyway, so yeah, one person noted today, I'm going to share something with you right now that's actually kind of important, and I wait until the end of the show because now the losers have left. You special people, you can hear what I got to say. But somebody called me up, somebody from my past, and they shared some information with me, and I'm not always happy to hear this stuff, but he reminded me of a few things. I was telling him about this Gary thing, and he said that you're always after somebody. You move on from one target to the next. It's true. Guys like this Gary here don't realize that we don't lose it. We don't hate you. We're not losing any emotion. You're just the target du jour. Okay? Target of the day, dude. A la Modi. Anyway, the thing is that I found out today that I have 2 grandkids. Okay? So everybody's alive still, but they've been reproducing. I don't know who had the kids. I don't know what the names are. I don't know how old they are. I don't know anything. They don't tell me shit. Okay? But great. I got to find out I'm a granddad twice over. All right? Welcome to my life. Okay? But I'll tell you, the benefit of not being connected to the family in any way whatsoever is that, just like I learned from that Nazi guy that taught me the secret to warfare so many years ago, is that a warrior has no family. A warrior has nothing that can be used against them. So when assholes like Gary go out and try to search down my family and do whatever to try to say shit like, I vaccinated my daughter. I mean, seriously, my daughter, which one? The 30-year-old, the 40-year-old? What? Come on. Grandkid, you say, it's retarded. the fact that when this guy comes out and tries to say I'm a pedophile, come on, it's retarded. There's thousands and thousands of hours of me talking anti-pedophile shit, and anybody with half a brain should be able to see that this one pathetic little video he pieced together is fucking AI. I mean, trust me, AI is incredible. One of my guys made one of me talking Japanese. Looked really fun. I like to watch that thing just to hear myself in my voice speaking Japanese. So trust me, if my people can make me talk Japanese, even the retards that work for Gary can piece together some words that say something incriminating. And it's just amazing that this asshole thinks that somebody's actually going to move on him, unlike the FBI and the Miami PD that actually will be moving on him very soon, no doubt. And Gary, would you say it takes 3 weeks for these guys to catch up to you? I don't think it's going to take that long, dude. I think you'll be getting a knock here in your condo up there on the 13th, 14th floor, whatever it is, pretty soon. Okay? Anyway, Gary, and you little tweakers, gay boys. I mean, seriously, these guys that belong to these men's clubs, they look so gay. And I'll tell you, it really boils down to lack of self-esteem. Boys, I'm sorry if you don't have a manly figure in your life and you're dealing with a man-hating mother or something like that. But seriously, don't turn to people like Gay Gary or Gay Red Pill Aries or a number of these gay people as a somehow teacher of how to be a man. It's incredible. You want to learn to be a man, grow a pair, and learn how to call out assholes like this and their satanic bullshit, okay? Trust me. Actually, fighting against these Satanists is probably the best measure of your balls that I could possibly think of, okay? So with that, I'm just going to remind you all, I haven't fallen asleep and left me, that I am Stephen E. Kelly, and this is Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. The one and only. What else do I want to leave you with? Well, I already gave you my AOL account, which is Law17Gun at AOL for emails, and Stephen Kelly 714 at Yahoo for donations, friend and family only accepted. That's it. All right. So I'll see you guys in the group, and happy hunting. And if you need, like I said, if you need Gary's address, because I know the FBI, they will ask you for the address of the person that we're actually, they're going after. Just let me know. I'll help you out with that. That's not doxing. That's just helping to facilitate the arrest of a criminal. Okay. A fraud. Gay Gary. All right, Gay Gary. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you guys all enjoyed the show. I look forward to seeing you next week. And trust me, I sleep very peacefully. I don't worry about this asshole, this Mossad wannabe. Okay? I really appreciate all of you guys and all the hard work that you've done, and keep doing it. And remember, ultimately, you're still working hard to occupy the Getty. Okay? So welcome to all the new people. We'll talk to you real soon. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye, Gary.